You'd be surprised to know how many books die on submission, and it's a fear that many authors have. But it doesn't mean that your publishing dreams are over by any means. So let's talk about what dying on submission is, how common it is, and what you should do if you find yourself in this situation. For my new viewers, this is my weekly Ask Alyssa Anything session where I answer your questions from the comments about your writing and publishing journey so that you can get closer to your dream of seeing your book on the shelf. Here's the question today. Hi Alyssa, I wanted to know how common is it for a book to die on submission? Can you please give examples of books that were queried that didn't die on submission? Let's backtrack a bit for those of you who might not know what this term means. Dying on submission is a very morbid way of saying that a literary agent presented your book to publishing houses, but no one offered to publish your book. There are no specific statistics collected regarding how often books die on submission, at least that I know of, because this data isn't reported anywhere specifically. And it's something that literary agents and authors don't necessarily want to publicize because, of course, it is a disappointing outcome. They wanted to get a book deal, but they didn't get any offers. To answer the question of how many books die on submission, all we have is anecdotal evidence. And there are more and more authors who are being open about their experiences dying on submission and what happened next. For instance, I recently made a video showing you a query letter from a successfully published author. Her name is MK Pagano, and that book that she got a literary agent for actually died on submission. So her next book was actually her debut published novel. I will link that video in the description for you to check out after. It is chock full of some amazing tips. So even though there's no specific number or percentage we can turn to, it's not an uncommon experience, especially for authors who are newer in their career. The question also asked for examples of books that didn't die on submission. For these, we can look at the Publishers Marketplace debut category. Chances are that these authors all queried their literary agents just like you might be doing, and their agent went out with this book to publishing houses, and they got a book deal, which means that these books did not die on submission. I want to alleviate some concerns that you might have about dying on submission, so let's talk about the possible outcomes of this situation. The first is that you could revise the manuscript and then your agent could resubmit the manuscript to publishing houses, not dissimilar to revise and resubmit requests at the querying stage. This could work especially well if an editor was very close to making you an offer but wanted to see specific editorial changes made. Another outcome could be that you focus on a new project in the meantime. There are plenty of cases where the first book that an author gets published via a traditional publisher is different than the book that got them a literary agent to begin with. And you could always potentially revisit the novel that died on submission down the line. The final outcome could be that you decide to part ways with your agent. Though dying on submission doesn't necessarily mean that your agent is not a good match for you, but it is a time to reevaluate the relationship and make sure that it is making sense for both of you. Perhaps you weren't the right editorial match to begin with, or perhaps you have a different vision for how to pitch the book and which editors to submit the book to. In those cases, maybe you feel like a different agent could be a better match to get you the publishing outcome that you want. The bottom line here is that dying on submission, as terrible as it sounds, does not at all mean that your publishing dreams should die as well. If you have a question you'd like me to tackle in my next video, drop it in the comments here and it will be added to my queue. Before you head out, don't forget my free resource waiting for you in the description below. It's my story self-assessment worksheet. If you're feeling stuck with your current draft, this resource will help you identify what you could do with it to take it to the next level. Downloading that is going to opt you into my newsletter, Chapter Break, where I'm dishing out exclusive interviews with literary agents and best-selling authors. They're giving some amazing advice I don't want you to miss. The link to check out Chapter Break is also in the description. Before you head out, give me a thumbs up if you liked today's video, and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on my next one. Thanks so much for watching, and happy writing.